Hey folks, welcome to the Learn to Rope Log episode 10. Well, last Friday I went to a jackpot up in El Paso. $40, pick one, draw one, or draw two. And I entered twice and I roped like dog shit. And I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I turned the first couple, heelers missed, and then I turned my first one, heeler missed, then the next one, the next three, either hit him in the back of the head or split the horns or just, it was pretty ugly. And I have to say I was as discouraged as I've been after that. That night, I stopped at the gas station and I almost wanted to cry. It was so frustrating. But I kept thinking I need to do something different. I don't know if I have to go somewhere where I can rope steers every day, that's what I did in Arizona and made huge progress. But then being back here and having to shoe horses or basically make a living at the same time, it was disheartening, to say the least, thinking that the practice I was doing and roping the dummy and roping my sled a little bit and even roping steers once a week, just not working out. And I kind of chewed on that for a while and slept on it and had to get up the next morning and deal with an aggravating situation with a client that had a horse in a race and hadn't told me, and I had to run over and sneak in the track. Anyway, it wasn't what I'd had planned that morning, and instead of going to watch races and drinking beer and maybe roping the dummy, I didn't feel like doing anything, but I decided to go. There was another 11 slide close to my house. I said, well, hell, I'll go rope again. It's kind of like a disease, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. But by the grace of God, I did get a different result, and when it all was said and done, I ended up third place. And it didn't turn out to be a slide. There was a bunch of high number guys there, but there wasn't enough to probably run a full roping, so they had another $100 a man round robin. I think 8 people on the side, but it turned out maybe 7. I don't remember. And I felt kind of like an idiot putting my $100 in an open round robin after I roped so bad the night before. But I said, well, I'll just do what I do and try to put everything out of my mind, all the things I've been trying to change, how I pick up my rope and riding and this, and things that I was focusing on maybe a little too much, and figure I'll go out there and just rope and see what happens. So I started out slow, threw a couple loops just like I had the night before, and said, oh man, this is frustrating. And finally convinced myself to put that all out of my head and just think about all I was thinking about when maybe the third or fourth run, I started thinking about all the muscles in my back and shoulder relaxing as I rode in the box, and I sit there and stared at that left horn. Tried to think about nothing else, which is easier said than done, but I half-headed one and half-headed another, and a couple heelers missed. And then I ended up with two caught with, they were both long with a leg. So one of them was 13, 14, both around that area. And I was tempted to think about how that, even if it was out a leg in 8 seconds, was not going to get it done, because it was around the barrel barrier, and a lot of these guys were turning them right there and roping on the second hop and turning in 5 and 6 second runs, and regularly a couple 4s, 4.8, 4.9. I said, man, what am I doing? I'm a 3-header, turning in 8 second runs at an open round robin, and it was my very last partner. I didn't know at the time, but was an 8+ heeler, which is pretty cool. I mean, that was fun roping with him, but I got the worst cow in the pen, the one that I'd actually practiced on her, and she had some big old wide up horns. For some reason, they've gotten in my head before, and it's like, oh crap, there's no way but I just sit there and stared at the base of the horn, didn't even look, wouldn't let myself look at those 12 inches of horn sticking up. And I don't even remember, it was like that kind of got blurry, and I don't remember how all I remember was seeing the rope go on across both horns and turned her off, and he roped her on the first jump. I think we were 7 and 15 or something, a low 7. I was like, well, that's cool. I kept myself from thinking about it and sat around and waited. Second round, I missed my first one. My second heeler legged again. That was kind of my fault. It was a steer was easing around the corner, and I maybe jerked his head as I pulled him off. But I thought, well, this is over. And but I just kept trying to relax and forget about anything but sitting there on the horse and remembering that I could rope 2 horns, and if it was meant to be, then I would figure it out in that moment. And my next 2 runs with that, my next run with that 8+ heeler, it was just about the same. I came out and covered the horns. He roped it on the second jump, and so we were 14-30 on 2, I think, and so, well, that was about 8th high in the short round, and they roped fast back, and the first high was 5 seconds for 15 on 3. So, well, 15, they were just a little longer on 3 than I was on 2, but the next few guys missed, legged, missed. I said, well, I got a shot at second if I managed to rope 2 horns when it matters here. So name finally came up, and once again, I was getting pretty relaxed at that time, and my horse was acting the best I've ever seen him act in the box. It was pretty cool, and I was kind of aware of that in the moment, but I wouldn't let myself think about it. I just kept going in, just sitting there like I was going to sleep almost, and looked at that left horn, nodded, came out, and man, I roped it right at the barrel and turned around, and he heeled down, and that was my fastest run I've ever had actually recorded. and it turned in like, I think it was 6:30 or 6:40. I don't remember what it was, but our final time was low 21. And man, I was so happy. I can't express how relieved and excited I was that I finally roped 3 in a row again with money on the line. And even better, I probably did better than I ever had, discounting all my rough start and my earlier runs. But it was, I kind of let it soak in for a minute, the feeling of success, which may not be a big deal for especially a high number guy, but for me, learning and having been so frustrated the day before, and that whole week trying to practice, it was boy, it felt good. And of course, the next team after us they roped in a short 5 to be 20, so I bumped us out of second place, but I made my money back and a little more, and I've kind of let it soak in over the weekend. It's not a big deal, but it kind of given me the encouragement to keep doing what I'm doing. Well, I can't rope every day like I want to, and make that the progress as fast as I think I could. It's given me the kick in the pants I needed to just keep working like I had been, and knowing that the time will come when my opportunity will come to go back to Arizona or find somewhere to go where I can practice every day and get exponentially better. But for now, I was very excited and happy to make a little money and wrote my very best under pressure when it mattered. So thanks for watching this far if you have, and I'll have hopefully more progress next week to report. And until then, keep trying. You never know what'll happen. Thanks again.